Hi, my name is Suzanne Martin. I'm going to talk about how a stay-at-home mom like me transformed her life with the support of my husband and my 2 daughters. This was the last picture of me in October 2016 before I experienced a life-altering change. My girls were getting older. I had been living an easy life, volunteering, paddleboarding, taking yoga, but something was missing. I wasn't doing enough to give back. Then my life turned upside down. I started researching everything I could about immigrants, and the more I read, the more I became convinced that I had to do something to help. But what could a stay-at-home mom possibly do to help? I thought of my grandmother who came over on a ship from Italy in the early 1900s, and I wondered if people did not welcome her when she came. Eventually, I was asked to lead a group to help immigrants, to connect them to resources. Our group is called the Annapolis Immigration Justice Network. I was so scared to lead a group, and I definitely made mistakes along the way. We began to realize the impact this was having on families. Parents were afraid to leave their homes, afraid to take their kids to school. We even met children who had developed a real fear of seeing a policeman in public. In April, I met this woman whose husband was a U.S. military veteran. She was so terrified that she would be deported at her check-in with ICE, and when she entered the building in Baltimore, we didn't know if she would ever come out. An hour later, she did come out. My group was so happy for her, but we saw the incredible stress that a family has to go through leading up to something like this. I remember another woman who was so terrified to go before an immigration judge that she couldn't eat or sleep for an entire week. She actually drew up guardianship papers because she thought she would be separated from her baby. As time went on, we met many more families. And you know what? Some of us in my group have no clue how to speak Spanish. The Google Translate app on my phone is my best friend when I don't have an interpreter with me. Then we learned of this man, a grandfather with no criminal record, who was incarcerated in conditions that were so hot that he would soak his clothes in water at night and sleep on the cement floor of his cell to try and sleep. I first met him at the detention center. He was sitting in a prison jumpsuit, and we were separated by a wall with a window. All I could say to him was, "I'm so sorry." He put his head down and became emotional, and both of us cried that day. Eventually, he was deported back to El Salvador. It was dangerous. A deported man is an easy target. He immediately went into hiding, and making the journey back up to the U.S. was his only option. As he made the journey up, there were times when he was scared. Sometimes we wouldn't hear from him, and we worried that he had been kidnapped by the drug cartels. This is a picture with his lawyer, who's on the right, just minutes after he presented himself to a U.S. Border Patrol agent on the Texas border. We were so relieved he was safe. He spent 8 weeks in jail until ICE agreed to release him on bond. This is me anxiously waiting to hear from him that night. ICE dropped him off at a bus station and left him. He had no phone, and he only had $1 in his pocket. Thank God for Uber. Finally, after 9 months, he was reunited with his family at BWI Airport in the early morning hours of December 23rd. You could feel the love and the joy as we all hugged him. I've never seen a happier man in my entire life. Now he is spending time with his family and awaiting to go before an immigration judge to present his case for asylum. We have been transformed forever by those we have met. They have taught us about hope, about the will to survive, and about what it is like for someone who is fleeing for their life. I don't know where exactly my journey goes from here, but I hope this has inspired you to reach out to someone who doesn't have a voice. The human connection crosses walls, crosses borders, and it even crosses languages. Thank you.